Science Beetle.
Welcome back, students. This is going to be the third and final series of the significant figures lectures. And so what I want to do is just going to kind of give you about 5 more problems that you can practice on so that you can really begin to really harness your significant figure powers. Okay? And so let's get going here. I've got one problem ready for you. What if we go ahead and start with 22650? And so how many significant figures are here? So we'll just go down the list, like I said. We'll do the first rule. All non-zeros are significant, so we know that 2 is a non-zero, because 1, it's not a 0. And so 2 is not a 0, 6 is not a 0, and the 5 is not a 0. So right there alone, we've got 4 significant figures. And we look at the 0. Are there any zeros between significant figures? Well, no, not really. There aren't any zeros between the 2, 6, and the 5. So really, rule number 2 doesn't apply. Any 0 at the end is significant only if there's a decimal present. So as I look at this, I don't see any significant figure in the 0 only because there's no decimal here. So the 0 here does not count. So the total number of count of significant figures is going to be 4. Okay, so that's very good. Let's try another one. But let's go ahead and erase this first. Okay, and so why don't we try 4.50 times 10 to the negative 9. And remember from the previous section here, this particular part right here, we're just going to ignore that for a second. Okay, the only part that we're interested in is this part right here. And so in this particular case, we look at the number. 4 is significant because it is a non-zero. 5 is a non-zero, so those two are significant there. The 0 is going to be significant simply because there's a decimal point right here. Okay, so in this case, the zeros is significant, so that means that the total count here is going to be a count of 3 significant digits or significant figures. Okay, so let's go ahead and try a third problem. And so if we were to try 74400, starting with rule number 1, we know that 7 is a non-digit, 4, and 4 are non-digits, non-zeros, excuse me. So we have 4 significant digits there. And then any zeros between, no, the rule number 2 really doesn't apply because there are no zeros in between these 4 non-zeros here. Rule number 3 applies because we do have some zeros at the very end, but we don't see any periods here, so these numbers are not going to be significant. So our total significant count is going to be 4. And rule number 4 doesn't really apply here because there are no zeros to the left of the first significant figure. Okay, so the figure count, significant digit count is 4 for this particular problem. Let's go ahead and try another. And go ahead and pause as you need to. You should do that already, but in case you need to practice, pause here at once I write the number. So the number is 47.4900. So go ahead and pause if you need to, and then we'll pick it up at the other end in a couple of seconds. Okay, so the rule number 1, all non-zeros are significant. So 4 is significant, 7 is significant, 4 and 9. So that gives us right there a total of 4 significant figures. Any zeros between significant? No, that doesn't apply. Any zeros at the end of the number is significant only if there's a decimal present. There is a decimal present right there. So that means that these two numbers are also going to be significant, and those numbers are the zeros at the end. So that gives us another 2 here for a total of 6. Okay, so the significant count is going to be 6. So there are a total of 6 significant digits for this particular problem. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one, and this will be the last one for this video. So let's say we have 0.000300. How many significant figures do we have in this? Well, let's begin at the very first one. I know it can be a little bit of a challenge, but let's start at rule number 1. Rule number 1 says that all non-zero numbers are significant. The only non-zero number here is a 3, so there's 1. Any zeros between 2 significant digits? Well, that one doesn't really apply because there's only 1 significant digit so far. And any numbers at the end are significant only if there is a decimal point. Well, there is a decimal point right there, so that means that these 2 are significant. And so that means that the 2 zeros at the end are significant for a total of 2. The 3 is a significant figure of 1. Now let's go to the last rule here, number 4. Any 0 to the left of the first significant digit is not significant. So here is the first significant digit, the 3. So that means that any number to the left, or rather any 0 to the left, which includes all of these are not significant. So the total count here is going to be 3. Okay, and we'll write that right there. Okay, so hopefully between the 3 lessons that I provided, that should be enough practice problems for you to really make sure that you have your significant figure determination skills down. So go ahead and subscribe us. If you need to go ahead and watch this lesson again, I encourage you to watch all 3 again. But continue to subscribe, continue to watch, and continue to learn. We'll see you soon, students. Bye-bye.